Here I am late, as I said I might be last night, with little to no warning, though, that I'm getting ready to stream. So I'll have to apologize to everybody getting here late. It is what it is. Moving pianos for friends. Welcome to the show. Mostly for people catching this on replay. Welcome to the show. My name's Stuart Davis, flawed man of God, humble parishioner at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. Not a pastor, not a biblical scholar, haven't been to seminary, not trying to get you to join my church, donate to any special cause. What's going on, Porcupine? Sorry for the late notice. Not trying to get you to join my church, donate to any special cause. Just trying to talk about God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit, the Bible, Christianity, many topics, current events, and issues, and give you my perspective on them, that of your average Christian guy. Been a Christian all my life, 40 years, non-denominational Protestant, just in the Word daily, trying to do it right every day. Sometimes I'll get it right. Many times I'll get it wrong. But regardless, if you're tuning in, you're going to get my humble opinions, my humble takes, my humble interpretations, and they'll be honest. But with the big caveat that I'm not a professional at this. This is a very amateur stream. So if you're interested in learning more about God, interested in becoming a Christian, but you're not sure what it's all about, welcome to the stream. Hopefully this very amateur, very honest, very casual stream is what you're looking for. Maybe you just want to hear it from the layperson. Maybe you just want to hear it from the average guy sitting in the pew who's done it for a while. Hey, what are your thoughts on this? What have you gotten out of your time in church? I'm here to help you out. So come on and join with us. If you are already a Christian and you just enjoy Christian topics and conversation, please, glad to have you here as well. Run this very similar to a Wednesday night study group or Sunday school. We just want to hear what you have to say in the chat. I encourage everybody to be in the chat, no matter where you are at in your walk, in your spiritual walk. But please make your voice heard. I will read it. We are a small community, small enough that I get the opportunity and the blessing to read and respond to everything you guys are saying. And with that said, welcome to the late stream for here on Wednesday. Was moving a piano for some friends. Oh my goodness, guys. That piano, I felt like it was as heavy as the tree that was cut down to make this thing. There were 4 of us there, 2 of my buddies, and the father-in-law or stepfather, not father-in-law, whatever. Another dude, who's also a member of the family of the folks whose piano I was getting. We were 4 guys going to take it out. We did accomplish that. Unfortunately for me, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, I got the light side, and so I was getting picked on for the little amount of lifting I had to do. Whatever. We got it there where it needed to go, and I'll take all the ribbing that I can because I had a good time, had a lot of laughs, got to make a lot of jokes. But it did happen impromptu at the end. Well, it was impromptu for me, right? We knew it could be coming, and I told them this morning, I was like, "Hey, I'm available to move this piano." And then I'm sitting there. It's like 7:05, studying with my son for school, and I get a call from my buddy's wife, and she's like, "Hey, are you coming?" I was like, "Yeah." I didn't know if we were doing it. I sent a text and nobody responded. Apparently, they were having this whole conversation in text, and I hadn't gotten a single one. And then at about 7:40, as we're on our way to go get the piano, they all show up. All the texts show up. So, oops. But we got it done. We got it done. They had to wait on me a little bit, and you guys had to wait on me. Everybody's waiting on me today. Well, wait no further because we're going to get right into it tonight, guys. So, Porcupine, hope everything's going well for you. I know you got a lot on your heart, a lot on your mind. Veritax, hopefully the planning for soon to be nuptials is going well. Texan, Italian, and Zero, also excellent to see you guys as well. And I hope you enjoy this last bit of listening to Elihu, Little Eli talk before Boss Man starts talking tomorrow night when we read. God's going to step in very shortly and put it all to rest. So let's get that rolling. Job chapter 36. Elihu has been running his mouth for a little while. He's going to continue. And I say running his mouth, I don't want to cheapen what he says. What he says is he says a lot of good things, a lot of things that we should understand as Christians. He reiterates a lot of those fundamentals and understandings that we have. However, again, it's kind of the same problem that we've been having, period. Everybody kind of knows that God is great, but nobody's really addressing the situation very well. And Job's not getting answers. Job's got questions. He's frustrated. He's angry. He's disappointed. And he's depressed. Still loves God, but he doesn't know what he did to deserve what he's done. And his friends are convinced that he's done something reprehensible to justify what's been done. And Elihu is saying, yeah, you did something wrong and you need to just accept it and repent and move on. And not bother God with all these questions and all the histrionics. And he's going to continue here in chapter 36 and 37. So we'll get through this. This will be a short stream. I think it will actually be a short stream this time. Usually when I say that, they aren't. But hey. So Job chapter 36. Elihu continued and I'm sorry. Let me back up. Chapter 36. Elihu speaks of God's dealings with men. Elihu continued and said, bear with me a little longer and I will show you, because he understands that he's been talking for a while. Bear with me a little longer and I will show you that there's yet more to say on God's behalf. This is a very presumptuous start. There's more that I got to say on. I'm speaking for the Lord at this point. He's not making any bones about it. He is just, hey, I know enough that I can speak for God. Oof. I will bring my knowledge from afar and ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my words are not false. He who is perfect in knowledge is with you. Behold, God is mighty, and yet does not despise anyone, nor regard any as trivial. He is mighty in the strength and power of understanding. He does not prolong the life of the wicked, but gives the afflicted their justice. He does not withdraw his eyes from the righteous, those in right standing with him. But with kings upon the throne, he has seated them forever, and they are exalted. And if they are bound in bonds of adversity and held by cords of affliction, then he declares to them the true character of their deeds and their transgressions, that they have acted arrogantly with presumption and notions of self-sufficiency. Still sounds like prosperity gospel here, though. If they're bound in bonds of adversity and held by cords of affliction, that's basically him showing and declaring to them, what they've done wrong. Still sounds like prosperity gospel. He opens their ears to instruction and discipline and commands that they return from evil. If they hear and serve him, they will end their days in prosperity and their years in pleasantness and joy. But if they do not hear and obey, they will die by the sword of God's destructive judgments, and they will die in ignorance without true knowledge. But the godless in heart store up anger at the divine discipline. They do not cry to him for help when he binds them with cords of affliction. They die in youth, and their life ends among the cult prostitutes, the whores. He rescues the afflicted in their affliction and opens their ears so that they pay attention to his voice in times of oppression. Hello, Dresden. Then indeed he enticed you from the mouth of distress and confinement into a broad place where there is no constraint or distress. And that which was set on your table was full of fatness and rich food. But you, Job, were full of judgment on the wicked. Judgment and justice take hold of you. He's making us, all right, there we go. Making the same mistake Job's friends have. Full of judgment on the wicked? When? None of that is mentioned. None of that is mentioned at the beginning of Job. In fact, the opposite is true. Job did what the Lord wanted. He's not full of judgment on the wicked. Do not let wrath entice you into scoffing, and do not let the greatness and the extent of the ransom turn you aside. Here's the other thing. Outside of Job pleading his own case, have we seen anything but humility from Job? Is there any reason for us to believe that Job is a guy who looks down on other people and makes fun of them for being either destitute or acting inappropriately? We don't catch any of that. And I get this is text, but usually folks who do that are not looked well upon by God. The folks he sees as righteous are those who he sees who are trying to help these people return or turn away from their bad behavior, to teach them. And to those who have been who are destitute, he would try to help them. Do not let wrath entice you into scoffing, and do not let the greatness and extent of the ransom turn you aside. Will your wealth be sufficient to keep you from the confinement of distress, or will all the force of your strength do it? Do not long for the night when people vanish from their places. Take heed and be careful. Do not turn into wickedness, for you have chosen this, the vice of complaining against God, rather than learning from affliction. If only he knew what this was. This isn't a learning experience for Job. It ends up being its initial, well, I'll take that back. God works on various levels, but as we're reading, we know that what this actually is a learning experience for Satan, to put him in his place, to let him understand that right men are righteous. You can't corrupt everything. But what this is, it's a learning experience for all of us to learn from Job's affliction. And Job is going to learn from it as well. But nobody tries to figure out, nobody at all seems to show any empathy for Job. Not since the very beginning when they sat in silence with him. Everybody's about to learn some things. They're about to find out. But again, he's fallen into the same trap. Great platitudes, and I say platitudes not in a negative context, but because what he says is good, is right at times when he's talking about how great God is and all this other stuff, but he claims to speak for God, that he knows more. He falls into that pit of saying that, no, Job, you've done something wrong, and now he's like, you're complaining against God, this vice you have, and you haven't learned from your lesson. But this wasn't a lesson for him. He was being tested. Behold God, who is exalted in his power. Who is a ruler or a teacher like him? Who has appointed God his way? And who can say to him, you have done wrong? Remember that you should magnify God's work, of which men have sung. All men have seen God's work. Man looks at it from a distance. Behold, God is exalted, and we do not know him. The number of his years is unsearchable, even with Google. For he draws up the drops of water, they distill rain from the mist, which the clouds pour down, they drop abundantly upon mankind. Can anyone understand the spreading of the clouds, or the thundering of his pavilion? Behold, he spreads his lightning around him against the dark clouds, and he covers the depths of the sea. For by these mighty acts he judges the people. He gives food in abundance. He covers his hand with the lightning, and commands it to strike the mark. His thundering voice declares awesomely his presence. The cattle also are told of his coming storm. Elihu says God has authority over the storm, and we know this from the Gospels, as evidence during the Gospels when Jesus does it. Indeed, at his thundering, my heart trembles and leaps out of its place. Listen carefully to the thunder of his voice and the rumbling that goes out of his mouth. He lets it loose under the whole heaven, and his lightning to the ends of the earth. After it, his voice roars. He thunders with the voice of his majesty, and he does not restrain his lightning against his adversaries when his voice is heard. God thunders marvelously with his voice. He does great things which we can't comprehend. For he says to the snow, fall on the earth, and he speaks to the showers and to the downpour of his mighty rains. Be strong. God seals, brings to a standstill, and stops by severe weather the hand of every man, that all men whom he has made may know his work, that is, his sovereign power, and their subjection to it. And then the beast goes into its lair and remains in its hiding place. Out of its chamber comes the storm, and cold from the north wind. Ice is made by the breath of God, and the expanse of the waters is frozen. He loads the thick cloud with moisture. He disperses the cloud of his lightning. Its direction is turned around by his guidance, that it may do whatever he commands it on the face of the inhabited earth. Whether it be for correction or for his earth generally, or for his mercy and loving kindness, he causes it to happen. Again, this is all these are all like generalities or things about God. We all understand that he is all powerful, right? How does this apply though? Otherwise, you're just talking. Listen to this, Job. Stand still and consider the wonders of God. Do you know how God establishes and commands them and makes the lightning of his storm clouds shine? Do you know about do you know about the layers of thick clouds and how they are balanced and poised in the heavens? The wonderful works of him who is perfect in knowledge? You whose garments are hot when he quiets the earth in sultry summer with the oppressive south wind. Can you, with him, spread out the sky strong as a molten mirror? Tell us, Job, what words of man shall we say to such a being? We cannot state our case because of darkness. That is, our ignorance in the presence of the unsearchable God. This is another error. It's to say God's way away from us, right? We cannot seek him out. Really? We're being directly affected. You're about to have a very tangible experience, Elihu. So shall it be told him that I wish to, or So shall it be told him that I wish to speak? Or should a man say that he would be swallowed up and destroyed by God? Now, people cannot look at the light when it is bright in the skies without being blinded, when the wind has passed and cleared them. Out of the north comes golden splendor, and people can hardly look on it. Around God is awesome splendor and majesty, far too glorious for man's eyes. The Almighty, we cannot find him. He is exalted in power, and he will not do violence to, nor disregard justice and abundant righteousness. Men, therefore, fear him. He does not regard nor respect any who are wise in heart, in their own understanding and conceit. Just as a little preview, chapter 38, title, God speaks to Job. And it starts off, then the Lord answered Job, ... And we'll leave it at that. We'll get into that tomorrow night's reading. 21 minutes. Not bad, guys. Not bad. We're going to wrap this up pretty quick. This is about the time the show would be ending normally. Porcupine, Veritax, Texan, Zero, Dresden. Glad to have y'all along for the ride on this late stream. Glad you were able to join me. I'm glad you were listening. I'm here but watching anime and listening. Alex, do you miss some of the story in the anime, or are you just watching the subtitles? Because that's what I do. I read the subtitles of the Bible. All right, guys. Glad you guys were here. To everybody listening who didn't comment in the chat, still glad you're here. To those catching me on replay, hope to catch you live soon. But thanks for listening. Everybody have a good night. And God bless. Same, Alex. I'm always multitasking as well.